you got a Ford Expedition that won't start, then stay tuned. I'm gonna show you how to fix it. So I'm out here. This is my 2003 Ford Expedition, 4.6 liter V8. And as you can see, we have a crank no start situation. That is, this vehicle will crank. The starter is engaging. You can hear it turning the engine over. However, the vehicle will not start. Now, as a DIYer, I've got to figure out how I'm going to attack this. How am I going to fix this problem? I don't know about you, but I don't have it in my budget just to have disposable income to just buy a bunch of parts and throw at this. Buy a fuel pump, buy a fuel filter, buy some spark plugs. I don't have that in my budget. So I need a way to be able to troubleshoot this vehicle and diagnose it with a high degree of confidence, so I can then acquire the part, put it in myself, and we can get this 03 Expedition back on the road. And that's the strategy I want to talk to you about today. A strategy that you can use as a DIYer so that you don't have to be a parts changer. You don't have to spend money that could be going to other things in your household income. Man, times are tough out here. Last thing you want to be doing is buying parts or have somebody else tell you that you need parts and you put it in your vehicle. That doesn't even fix your problem. So let's fix that in today's video, and let me give you a strategy that we're going to use to diagnose this vehicle that you can use to diagnose your own vehicle. Let's dive in. So as DIYers, it's important that we have a strategy when we're trying to diagnose a crank no start issue on our vehicle. Again, we don't want to just throw parts at this, right? We have a budget. With some of us have families, household income, right? Money doesn't grow on trees. You can't just throw a fuel pump, spark plugs, cross your fingers, or tell your buddy down the street. Your buddy down the street told you that's what you need, so therefore you go out and get it, and guess what? It doesn't solve your problem. No, we want a process that we can go through to diagnose with a high degree of confidence what's wrong with our vehicle, so that we can order the part, purchase the part, get it in there, get it fixed, and get our car back on the road. And that's where this FASTEC method comes into play. So what FASTEC is just an acronym that spells out what we need in order for our vehicle to start. If we got a crank, in order for it to start, we got to have fuel, we have to have air, spark, timing, both ignition and mechanical, exhaust, and compression. Fuel at the very top, hopefully that's obvious, right? You got to have a fuel source. In order for that mixture to be ignite, to combust, you got to have a fuel source. You got to have air. Air and exhaust, I think about us as humans, right? We have to be able to breathe. An engine has to be able to breathe. The air coming in, I think of that as like me inhaling, right? Me taking in air. That's your air filter. That's your intake going into that throttle body. That's inhaling. You have to have air. Exhaust means you got to be able to exhale. You got to be able to blow that out. You can't just hold that in. You got to be able to blow that out. And that's where the exhaust comes into play. Spark, although you have full fuel, you have to have a spark to ignite this fuel to air ratio, this fuel to air mixture. You got to have spark to ignite this fuel to air mixture. So that's where sparks comes into play. Timing means that in this engine, events have to happen at certain times. And you have to have the ignition in place and the timing correct so that it can command the spark to happen at certain times, at certain places. And then the mechanical components have to be working so that they are happening at certain times. Think about valves opening and closing. Think about a timing chain, a timing belt. All these things have to happen at a certain time in order for our vehicle to start. We talked about exhaust, and then compression would be in order for our fuel to air mixture to ignite. It has to be under compression. It has to be compressed so that we can get that violent explosion that can drive that piston up and down and get our vehicle started. So that's the FASTEC method, and that's what we're going to use to figure out why our vehicle won't start. And the way it works is that as you have an understanding of each one of these and how they work together, you then think about what tests you can do to verify that you have each of these, right? What tests can we do as DIYers with our common basic understanding and maybe with some basic tools? What can we do to test whether or not we have fuel? So that's how I think, and that's how I think you should be thinking too. What test can you do to test to verify you have fuel? What test can you do to verify you have air, spark, timing, exhaust, compression? So that's the game plan. And what I like to do, I like to make it easy on myself. When I look at this and I have a no-start situation, I think about what's the next easiest test for me to do? What's the next easiest test for me to do so I can start checking these boxes to make sure that I have all of these and identify which one is missing. And that's what we're going to show you how to do today. So we've just talked about the FASTEC method. So as I sit here in the vehicle, you know we have a no start. We have a crank no start situation. We know the vehicle will crank, but it won't start. So as I think about the FASTEC strategy, I'm thinking, what's the next easiest test for me to do? Of all the pieces that make up FASTEC, that acronym, what's the easiest check for me to do? And based on my level of understanding, based on my experience, I can decide which way I want to go. And for me, as I sit in this vehicle, the next easiest thing for me to do is to work on fuel. And because I know I've worked on Fords, I've owned Fords for a number of years, I know that within the first 2 to 3 seconds of me putting that key in the on position, I should get a fuel pump prime. On some vehicles it's more pronounced than others, but jet fuel pump should cut on for about 2 to 3 seconds after you put the key in the on position. So I think the next test for us to do is turn the key to the on position and let's see if we hear that 2 to 3 second prime of the fuel pump. Let's get set up and we'll be right back. So sometimes it's hard to hear that prime. I want to put the key in the on position, and right here you're sitting with me in the driver's seat, and we may have to do some maneuvering to make sure we can hear this. So I got the key in the ignition now, going to the on position. Didn't hear anything. Let's try it again. I'm gonna lean back a little bit and see if I can hear it that way. I don't hear a prime. And again, some vehicles it's harder to hear than others. So I think for the next step, I'm gonna position you right here by my gas tank, right here by the gas cap, and let's see if you hear something. Hold on and we'll be right back. So I've got you positioned right now by the gas cap down here by the tank. I'm gonna put the key in the on position again, and let's see if you can hear something with the microphone being right here. So I got the key in the ignition, on position right now. Nothing. On position. Let's see if it starts. Still got a no start. All right, gang, so I had you positioned back here. We're still not getting this prime on this fuel pump, but we can't hear it. We can't hear it. So let's put the gas cap on and regroup. So I'm in the vehicle now. Before we get too far down the road, I just want to show you what the fuel gauge is reading, so we don't overlook that. Fuel gauge is showing that we have just above a quarter of a tank of gas. So it's showing that we do have gas in the tank. Showing we do have gas in the tank. So we've just checked for our fuel pump prime, and as you saw there, we could not hear it. That doesn't necessarily mean we don't have a prime. We couldn't hear the prime. So I think we're on the right path of continuing to test for fuel until we get a test that confirms we do in fact have fuel, and fuel is taken care of on the FASTEC method, and we're not there yet. So for the next test, I'm thinking about what I want to do. Now I do have a fuel pressure gauge. We can connect this and check for fuel pressure. If you want to get more in depth on how to do that, I'll drop a card to a video I recently put out up here, and in the description below I'll give you a link if you want to go off and check fuel pressure. But I realize that some of you don't have a fuel pressure test kit, a gauge. So what's another test that we can do to test for this? And I'm always thinking about what's the next easiest test, because it's going to be take a little time to connect the gauge to the Schrader valve and do all that. Another test that we can do is that we can introduce an alternative fuel source into the air intake. And here I've got a can of throttle body air intake cleaner. And the way this test works is that we can pull off the air intake ducting going into the throttle body, the throttle plate, open up the throttle plate, spray some of this air intake cleaner, which is an alternative fuel source, and see, do we hear a difference when we try to start the vehicle? Does the vehicle now try to start? And if it does try to start in the presence of this fuel, that's a good indication that we may be missing fuel and we've got a problem there. So what I'm going to do next is get some tools, and let's remove this cover so we'll have a clear access to the air intake and the throttle plate, and we'll get set up for our next test. Let me remove this and I'll be right back. So you see we've got our cover removed here, and I've taken the intake off the throttle plate, off the throttle body, and now we can spray our alternative fuel source in here. And what I'm going to do is open up this plate like this and spray it in there. Now I have a mechanical throttle body. If you've got a drive-by-wire and electrical throttle plate, electronically operated, don't do this, because you can damage your throttle body and this whole connection. But because I have a mechanical one, I can just operate it by hand. But if you got an electrical one, don't do this. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to spray my fuel source in here, and then we're going to try to start the vehicle. Hold on, and we'll be right back. So I've got my son out here to help me. He's going to start the vehicle, try to start it this first time here, and I'm not going to spray any cleaner on it. So hold on a minute. So this is going to be our baseline test. He's just going to try to start it as usual and see what we got. Hold on a minute. All right, try to start it. Okay, so he just tried to start it there. Now let's introduce our fuel source and see what happens. Now we're going to start the vehicle now and see if we can get it started without introducing our fuel source. Try to start it. All right, there you go, Will. So that was the test, guys. You see, we were able to start it by introducing this alternative fuel source. So let's try it one more time. Make sure we got it on camera. Try to start it. All right. So I think that's enough. By introducing this alternative fuel source, we were able to get this vehicle to start. And there was a change. Remember, we didn't have that the first time. So I think that suggests that we're missing fuel. So I think it's time for us to dig a little bit deeper. So as you just saw, when we introduced that fuel source, this vehicle was able to start. Maybe only for a few seconds, but it behaved differently than the times before where we didn't introduce that fuel source. Because it behaved differently, that's evidence that suggests that we are in fact missing fuel from this vehicle. So again, remember the steps we followed. We talked about the FASTEC method. I sat here and I said, what's the next easiest test for me to do? We checked to see if we had that 2 to 3 second prime. Once we put the key in the on position, we didn't have that. So instead of reaching for the fuel gauge, for the pressure gauge, which we could have done, we instead did a different test using the fuel source, introducing that in the intake, and the vehicle did try to start. So, guys, well, what I'm trying to say is that with a basic understanding of these vehicles and how they work, understanding of the FASTEC method, you can do what I'm doing and be able to diagnose a crank no start on your Ford. So that's going to wrap it up for today's video. There's definitely going to be a part 2. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so when that second video drops, you'll be the first to know. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope this video helped you out. If it did, hit that subscribe button and click that bell so anytime we drop a new video, you'll be the first to know. Hit that like button and leave me some comments. I'd love to hear from you. If you're interested in any of the products we used in today's video, we'll leave some links down below. Hope you have an awesome day, and thanks for watching.